Right, this is a fun thing to discuss and a little bit of a showcase here. As you can see, it says Zelda 64 Recompile Majora's Mask. And this is pretty much a PC port of Majora's Mask. This is the first version, and we have seen these type of things before, right? Nothing super special. It's very special, but it's nothing new. But the thing is that for Perfect Dark and Ocarina of Time, what happened is that people has like tried to decode every little code within the game itself, and then trying to understand it and then convert it into an executable PC working application or game executable. And this is apparently using a different approach, which is the fun thing. This is pretty much taking the game and just converting like the game's kind of code. Like if you were to execute a code, something like that. I don't know exactly the technical reason, but the main thing is that you don't have to like dig through and get like the game, the ROM file. You don't have to convert it into like a big source file that you then can make something of. This is pretty much taking the file as it is and just takes that into like converting it on the fly using some nifty, nifty ways of doing it. I'm not technical, so I'm not gonna dive into it, but the difference is here that you in this way you have the little ROM file, and as the game progresses and everything, it will on the fly just be converted into like a PC working code. While with the case of the other way around, like a Ship of Arcanum, it meant that they took the entire ROM file, to my knowledge at least here, and Perfect Dark, and made it the entire ROM. They just like got their brain truth. They got slowly worked it out and made it into source code, and then they could take that source code and they could create an application out of it. And the thing is that apparently with this approach here that we're going to try today, which only works with this game, I've seen a lot of question because it was announced, and this way of doing it means that it theoretically should be able to work with most of the games from the Nintendo 64, meaning that we should theoretically, in a reasonable future, depending on how this is evolving, get lots of PC ports for the N64 games. And what is the advantage over let's wait here a bit, but yeah, that is the gist of it. In the near future, like being able to take the ROM file, the game file, and just on the fly kind of like, okay, it comes in, this executable here, it reads the file and then it spits out computer code. It's very nice, very fast, and you can add a little bit of extras there. It should mean in that way that we could get lots of nice games being run natively as PC ports. But before we dive into this approach a little bit more, let's go through this and get the game running in the background for you to see something more fun to see. The key thing is here that I'm gonna link down below, you need to have an American version of this file of the Majora's Mask backed up on your computer in one way or another, right? The American version, the USA version. And then you can go to the link below, you can get this file, you just unpack that file to a good place on your computer, you run the executable within that folder, which is called Zelda 64 recompiled.exe. And you should then be able to get to this menu. It is going to be a menu here where you said that you can pick your ROM location. I'm seeing someone that did this, they set this one up and then they moved it to another place on their computer, and then it couldn't find files correctly. So try to put it in a good place from the beginning. I'm sure it's gonna be tweaked in future version coming, but just to make sure, put this, you know, unpack it to a good place on your computer, and then, you know, you can put your file of Majora's Mask American in a good place where you're not gonna move it. And then when you launch this, you're gonna be able to, there's gonna be, unfortunately I cannot showcase it, but there's gonna be a little bit of a one thing here. I'm gonna try to quickly look something up here. Okay. No. Maybe. I'm sure you can't read it, but yeah. But then there's gonna be a menu that's gonna say, you know, let you pick where your game is located, and after that, this is where you are going to end up. And we have a menu called Setup Controls. I'm gonna be running this with my gamepad, my gamesir T4 Kaleid, running in Switch Pro mode, because this PC port here do apparently support gyro, which is really nice. This is supporting the Switch Pro natively, which is nice. You also can see that you have keyboard support there. I haven't remapped or anything, but it looks like you can do that. Again, this is the first version, so a lot of things gonna change. But yeah, so you have support for remapping game controls and keyboard support. There are obviously going to be limitations. I don't think this isn't as like in a matured way of this chip of Arcania, and I'm gonna try to explain a little bit of what I've learned, the difference when I get into the game. But yeah, so I haven't tried how good if mouse works or anything like that. I'm gonna stick with controller. But it seems to support at least keyboard. You have a general setting here. If you want to have rumble, you want your target main blah 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 by pressing the button or by holding the button. Gyro sensitivity, which is nice to see how that's gonna work. Blah blah. Setting still flat surface for 5 carats. Setting this to 0 will blah blah. Controls the sensitivity as gamma when using it in the first person. No, to recalibrate the controller gyro, set the controller down on a still flat surface for 5 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. Maybe this will be recalibrated here. There is a mouse sensitivity, so it looks like you can support mouse here. Oh, all right. Partially a little bit of mouse support, but not mouse click apparently. Mouse buttons. Backward input output. Autosave is a nice feature. This you might want to turn off if you want more of a classic feeling. There we go. So very bare bone, but still very functional. Let's go for sound here. Background music volume, that's a nice thing to have here. Low held beeps, nice that you can turn that one off. And graphics, it's a very simple graphic here. The only thing that I'm really missing is, you can see here you have an original. That is gonna mean it renders at the game's original resolution. You can then upscale it 2 times to a 480p or an automatic scaled that is based on your window size. I would have loved if I could have had, apparently I think this supports like ultra widescreen, so you can like resize your window, or you can run this in full screen obviously by pressing Alt plus Enter. But yeah, this should work with ultra widescreen aspect ratio and stuff like that. But I would really love if they could get like a menu to choose 4:3, 16:9, 21:9, 32:9, or custom stuff like that, and then have like, you know, 720p, 1080p, 4040p, 4K, or custom, instead of having to like manually resize my window. I'm gonna try that when I get into the game. But by default, it seems to be about a 1080p window, 16:9, a little bit smaller than that, I would say. A little bit smaller than 1080p by default. And here you have settings, you know, if you want it to be in a 4:3 aspect ratio, or if you want it to be 16:9, 21:1, 21:9, or stuff like that. You have a full screen or windowed mode here, or Alt-Enter works also. Frame rate is really nice, because apparently this has a very good way to kind of like interpolate frame rate up, making it smoother without breaking physics within the game, which is going to be very interesting. So by default, it detects my display's refresh rate 120 Hz, and it's going to use that. I could switch to original, which would mean like 20 frames or something like that, or you can get a manual if you want to pick your poison here. Blah 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 blah. I think it might be a little bit buggy if you go like very high, like 240 or something like that. You have a simple anti-aliasing here, and you can even switch where you want your HUD to be placed a little bit here. Very nice, very interesting indeed. But let's get into the game so you have something more interesting to look at. So I have very little experience. I have like booted up this when it was released and just dabbed a little bit, and I have actually never done it before. I was definitely thinking of going through Ship of Arcanian, playing through Ocarina of Time, but who knows, maybe this might be something to go for earlier. Maybe if you think it would be really interesting to see me at least do a longer let's try of this game, you can feel free to comment. I think this was informatable, good information or something like that. You can obviously leave a like in this for this video. Looks very crisp and very sharp. In OBS you can see that there are black and are bars around the screen. I promise you it is not that at what I'm looking at, but when I get into the game I'm gonna try to fix it so that OBS will reflect accurately what I'm seeing here on the window here. It is 16:9, but it has black bars on top on the bottom. And we're also gonna try to dive in what the difference is between like the Ship of Arcanian and this way of recompile stuff. Recompile PC port. Alright, let's just dive in. Can I go? So autosave is pretty much supposed to save like whenever in very good spot and like whenever you quit. So that might definitely be something you want to turn off. You want more of the traditional only save at the game intended places. And the first thing you might have seen is during this setting is that Ship of Arcanian has a lot of more different settings and like replacement of stuff and things like that. Because we're gonna get into it, but this is pretty much gonna be more of a bare bone kind of thing with a little bit of sprinkles on top, while PC ports can go bonkers. Like when they are like decompiling the entire ROM in the game, like they can go absolutely bonkers, and that is not the goal of this way to doing it. We might also dip into why this might be better than a little bit better, dip into why it might be a little bit better than emulators in some aspects. According to what I've seen, I cannot, you know, on a technical level verify it, only through what I saw in like trailers and reading and stuff for this thing here. Is this Ifona? Yeah, or what? So far it looks very sharp, very crisp. Audio is very good. Okay, we are getting mugged. So far it runs smooth. It's running in DirectX Direct 3D 12. 120 frames, 30% utilization, very little VRAM usage, under 2 GB being used. CPU is very low, not being utilized or being maxed out for very stable 120 frames. So it seems to be very efficient. Right, so we don't have any camera movement. We can go into first person mode. Gyro is not working here. So I don't know if I need to set up gyro or something different. By default is no gyro here. Oh wait, yeah, that's no, should be good. Oh well, I'm not gonna bother about it. Okay, so there is no gyro here. Don't know if you need to like enable settings for gyro to work. Yeah, I can't see to get the gyro to work by default. We can go into the settings here. Right. Don't see anything specific here. Do we have... Okay, here we have this. We can do this. Very quick and responsive. I'm gonna turn off maybe the... I can showcase it for you guys. See the performance. Yeah, I don't know about if I need to enable the gyro or anything here. No idea if you need, how you need to, if it's not working yet or if you need to set it up. Let me try something. Okay, so yeah, mouse is not working either. Maybe it's not supposed to work right now. Don't know. Okay. Let's skip gyro. And let me see if I can get rid of the black bars for you. I'm gonna try to resize this to be bigger. So you can resize it pretty much freely. This is now ultra wide. Looks very nice. A little bit maybe distortion on the sides. We're gonna go for 16:9. There we go, this is how it looks on my screen right now here. So now we have about a 1440p. GPU utilization is very nice. You move with your analog stick here. D-pad, nothing. Left or right stick is the C buttons here to get like a look closer. Don't use A or B button there. The left trigger, right trigger is that is the shield. The left trigger is the aiming. Left and right buttons do nothing yet. All right. Doom, doom, doom. I'm guessing I have to follow him into this place, maybe. All right. But as this goes, so. The differences, maybe, quickly, it looks very nice, is... So, compared to an emulator, this is supposed to be pretty more accurate and just easier to get going. You know, you don't have to worry about plugins or stuff like that and everything. And it's supposed to be like there... I guess there is like maybe Simple 64 something that use like the parallel plugin that is very accurate, but this is supposed to be very accurate when it comes to like fog and everything and graphical fidelity with sharper and, you know, sharper graphics look here. And you're also apparently worked very hard on the audio. It sounds very good here, really great, so I'm definitely interesting to try more ports and everything like that. One thing I would have liked to do is have inversion for the getting gyro. I'm gonna try to look if I can figure that one out, and I also want to see. I would have liked inversion for an option for to be able to invert. Let me do that. I would have liked to get an option to invert the looking vertically. When you let me showcase that. When I do this, up is down and down is up. I would like to probably have that be inverted. Maybe that can come in future. Who knows? But yeah, this is supposed to be, you know, very efficient. Maybe not more efficient than emulators, probably is more efficient, meaning that you need less of a powerful computer or PC, or I'm guessing this might maybe come to Android also, but less demanding than an emulator, because this kind of reads the games directly and executes it, while emulator first is going to read it, and then it's going to try to figure out what to do with it, and then it's going to execute it. And it seems like on my RTX 3070 here in 1440p-ish, running at 120 frames per second, like I'm using 36%, so less than 40% of my GPU. And this might not be accurate, because my GPU might not be running at full speed, so it might actually be more like 20%. And the VRAM here, with OBS recording and everything, 2.15 gigabyte, that's nothing, and my Ryzen 5600X not even close to being maxed out there on any thread. And system memory is very low. So we can probably remove that. Let's just for now bring me back in, why not? Right. And also it's supposed to be very fast, and this is super quick, super responsive. Also it seems to be pretty low latency so far. This I need like Super Mario 64 or something more. Something more demanding to be able to try the latency, but it feels very responsive. There's no free camera movement. That is definitely something I would really love. And again, I will hope that I can get gyro to work. It's not working right now. So what are the difference between Ship of Arcanian and this when it comes to some things? So this is smaller. My Ship of Arcanian is a little bit bigger file size for me, but that's probably nothing. Let's see, alright, yeah. In total, this, when unpacked with this Majora's Mask ROM, is about 100 megabytes. And the other big difference here is gonna be that Ship of Arcanian, since they have like a source code that they can do whatever they want to do with, means that they can change the game, they can change how it works, they can, you know, do lots of craziness. This one, you know, doesn't change the game. You know, it's like it can add some things after, like before the game is being like running, and then before it's being displayed, they can add a little bit of things. And they are planning on adding, or they or him, very small indie team here doing this amazing work, are planning to add like a ray tracing option, which is really crazy cool. And some small things like that, but they can't really, or at least not to in the same way, just completely change the game, because Ship of Arcanian has tons of different game things about how the game is just playing, and that is not the goal of this type of thing. This is like more of a the original game with some extra little things on top here, but not game changing things. Like Ship of Arcanian could pretty much, they could remove dungeons in the game of Ocarina of Time. They could add dungeons, and that is not what this is gonna do. They can change the order, they can add randomizer things for speedrunners and different things like that. And that is not what's feasible within this. So both recompile project like this and a decompilation project are going to coexist. It's not a war between them both, which is really cool. And they both should be able to hit pretty much, you know, about the same performance depending on how they optimize things, so there shouldn't be a difference there. The only big difference should be with, you know, the amount of tweakability. And Ship of Arcanian already supports like HD textures and stuff like that. That is something that is being looked at and maybe planned in the future for this version. It's no HD texture support so far, that you can add like HD texture pack. But that is definitely something that is being looked at for the future. Alright, so something has happened to us. Ooh, weird. Some kind of wizard have changed our appearance. So yeah, audio-wise and like graphic, it looks really sharp and really nice looking. Performance is, you know, with 4 times MSAA, it's really great. I think the requirement so far is that you need to have a GPU that supports like DirectX 12 pretty much, because it's running in that. But most graphics card released in the last maybe 5-6 years, or maybe later or even older, probably works fine. I don't remember exactly. Was it DirectX 12 supported by the 2000 series? Maybe the 1080 Ti or 10X Nvidia series. Did they support DirectX 12? No, I don't think so. Maybe not. So maybe you need like a RTX 2000 or 3000 or 4000 series of graphics card, or the Nvidia equivalent blah blah blah, or the similar AMD graphics card. But some like GPUs built into like processors in your CPUs or in your that are in some cheaper version of notebooks might not work with this. And in that case, you know, emulators might work better because they don't have that kind of requirement. Yeah, so far everything looks spot on here. I don't seem to be able to do a lot of thing here. Oh no, Navi! Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, this is a completely new experience. We're just gonna play a little bit to showcase this, how it goes. It's... so I think that when like this is stable, the plan is to get Ocarina of Time running in the same manner, so that will be really nice. Then I'm sure people are gonna do like a little bit of a comparison between Ship of Arcanian and, you know, this version of doing the game. But yeah, so far the only thing that I'm missing is obviously a free look for the camera. I don't know if that is feasible in how this works. It might not be something that can be done, because that might need that you need to have access to the code and add that into like the source code and then make a game of it. Again, this just takes the base standard Majora's Mask USA ROM and directly gets it to be PC code. So it's not really, you know, doing crazy stuff like Ship of Arcanian. So it might only be that Ship of Arcanian can add things like relook camera, you know, and stuff like that, which is really nice that they both have a different kind of approach to things and they both serve different purposes. Yeah, it graphically and the audio and the graphic here are really just feel spot on. Like no hitching in the audio, it sounds clean, it sounds crisp. And the same for the graphic here, it's very clean, it's very crisp and very nice like that. And I'm really looking forward to see what they can do if the plan to get like a ray tracing graphical option in. That's gonna be just absolutely crazy to see how that's gonna make games look, especially for maybe games like Wave Race or Hydro Thunder. I think that's the name, or is it something else? Ooh, trippy. The blur effect, everything. So far it feels very accurate. But graphically here, and you know, no like weird graphical glitches happening. Again, you can definitely leave a comment if you want me to do like a more of a let's try of this, or maybe I should try to even get into the game soon. Because I was actually thinking of trying to get the ship of Arcanian and do that before something like this game. Maybe you want me to really swap the game order around. That might be something to be possible. I don't know how long this is, but I'm guessing they are pretty long. But yeah, the biggest thing here is to remember one thing. You cannot download this thing and then add any game you want to. It's going to have to be one, you know, executable, one port per game. So this port here is going to be, well, pretty much, you know, this port here is going to be for Majora's Mask, and then it's supposed to be adding like Ocarina of Time. And I think the reasoning behind that was that, hey, they are kind of in a series, so maybe if in the future, you know, it might be that, you know, you make a PC port for Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, but pretty much it's not like you can't just download this and then just add any ROM that you want. Would have been an interesting thing for sure, but it's not there because there still needs to be some kind of manual labor per game to make sure that they really kind of work out at this point in time, at least. Because I've seen that being mentioned in a few threads that, oh, this is cool, we can, you know, this is gonna make every like N64 game pretty much running, so how do I use this with my game that I wanna run? You can't. You need to wait for future version to be released for your game. Hopefully this is gonna be a good way and quick way to get it going. It's what I've gathered is that it's supposed to be a much easier way than to decompiling games. So hopefully we will see an explosion of just awesome PC ports for the most of the N64 games, right? With added ray tracing and just this cool stuff here. Good performance, you know, sharp, crisp graphical style and clear audio, good controller support, and great performance, you know, hopefully. But yeah, the future will tell how feasible that is going to be. But at this point in time, if you're thinking that you could just get any of your N64 games running with this, no. Right now this is for Majora's Mask, and in the future Ocarina of Time, and then we're gonna see different support, hopefully for different games. Just to really emphasize that, because that was the first thing, because this recompile thing was showcasing that, hey, I got other games running pretty quickly here and it should be easy, and this should be a good way to doing it, and people kind of misread that to, oh, so now I can just download this file in front of me and I can do that to my games here. No, it needs to be per game thing pretty much. And unless you are a coder, because it is, I believe, open source, you need to like wait for it to happen. But it would be definitely nice, because there are some interesting games to see happening. And one of the biggest thing for me is that Nintendo 64 games, many of them suffered from bad frame rate. And this feels buttery smooth and it looks buttery smooth. And to be able to play those games, lots of games that ran a little bit, you know, not so great, to get them running with good performance and you know, with good frame rate. That is something I'm really looking for. Wave Race is an amazing game, but it did run a little bit terrible. So to have that in like 60 or 120 frames, holy hell, that's gonna be just insane if that's possible. And there are other games also, some that have a pretty good, I think Conker's Bad Fury, but there is the Xbox port of that one that you can get Xbox 360 port of that you can get running at stable 60. But hey, if this could get that game to run at like 120, awesome stuff. It's definitely really exciting things coming here, hopefully. I have not paid attention to what I'm supposed to do, so that's fine. So if I were to continue this game, I would have to start from the beginning. 72 hours remaining. Yeah, I haven't spotted any real weird graphical glitch problem here, you know. I haven't heard anything, the audio just is great, amazing. Again, the input feel really good. Yeah, so far the only thing for me is definitely that I... Whoa, okay. Really would have liked a nice... A free camera would have been something that, you know, obviously would be really nice for this game. But that is, again, might not be something that is possible with this, and that's fine. It gives you more of the kind of OG thing. Then you have PC ports that's gonna give you more of a modern kind of touch with more weird, or no, not weird, more tweakability. East clock down. I was supposed to go to the north gate. No idea where that is. So much talking. Ooh, this is some classic music. I am the worst. More classic music. Alright, cool stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna showcase a little bit of the game here. I think I've mentioned most of the important things here. So yeah, this is only for Majora's Mask, the USA version, that you need to have your copy of. And you need like a graphics card that supports like the DirectX 12 kind of subset of things. You can find more in the link below. So yeah, very important, you know, definitely to emphasize that. Whoop. Only Majora's Mask, the US. Okay. The US version here. To be working. There we go. But it's a pretty lightweight to run, you know, Ryzen 5600X, not even sweating in 1440p, and I can run this in 4K no problem. The same is the graphics. My RTX 3070 is like, you know, 40% with 4 times multi-samp MSAA enabled, so you know you can get that down quite a lot. Maybe we should showcase that. When I go outside, I'm gonna turn off MSAA. Oh, wait, what did you say? Okay. Doesn't seem to be analog input. Yeah, there is analog input, but they are very little analog input. So let's try to... Oh, this was not out. This is somewhere else. Okay, is this to change? So maybe this is... Whoa. Is to change the time? So maybe there's night time here? Right, so that is... whoop. How do I get out of here to try to turn off the MSA to look at how things look? Right, so let's turn this one, the graphic options on. It's about 40% utilization. So let's change the graphics. Let's turn off MSAA. That's interesting. Bye. There we go. A small hit. Went from Okay, we are running at like 33% here. So 7 to 10% different, 29, 30%. So about 10% different. It still looks very nice even without the MSAA on here. You might even like the more crispier look of it. Then if we turn it back on. We're up. Alright. Yeah, around 40% here. So 10% different. I don't know where the North Gate is. So terrible bad at these games here. Right at the bar. I do prefer, I don't know how long we're gonna stay like this. I do prefer the traditional Zelda with his sword kind of thing. So, where the hell am I going? Town Shooting Gallery. Don't think this is the way I should be going, right? Right, I would have liked to ended this with like finding North Gate, but I'm unfortunately quite terrible at. Unfortunately terrible at navigating. Nice animation here, but yeah, at 120 frames here, so far everything seems very solid. I I can't find anything to complain about, except that I don't know where the hell I'm going. But that's my problem. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing or anything here, so... But it's more just showing a little bit of the game than trying to do correct stuff here. Huh. Night of the same 36 hours remain. Yeah. Yeah, I know nothing about these games. I don't know what how to, you know, tackle this game, what's gonna happen here when the time runs down. No idea here. South clock down there. I was supposed to go to north. No, not the north gate. What the hell is that? That should be where I came from, right? These dungeons gotta look pretty goddamn cool with proper ray tracing thing here. Definitely a lot to look forward with this, you know, project here. Yeah, the gyro is not working, so I don't know if that is a controller problem or if it is a game problem here, but I couldn't even get the mouse to working, so that would definitely something that I would like to have, the gyro for this mode. Well, I would have liked, yeah, since we don't have free camera, gyro for that mode would be really fun to get going. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on this port of this game, and you know, I'm sure there's gonna be more stuff coming in the future for this game on this channel. But yeah, the plan is definitely, I have it on the back burner. I have like Wind Waker and I have Zelda Ocarina of Time, you know, to like, I wanna try them. Ocarina of Time probably more than Wind Waker, not certain, depending on how good the Wind Waker feels. But yeah, Wind Waker definitely want to do a nice little let's try of that, and Ocarina of Time start the series just to see how that feels, because I played it when it came out. I haven't really played it since then, just maybe like the first dungeons here and there. Okay, I know where she is. Okay. So, can I do this quest? I think this is a good way here to showcase it and for you to try this yourself and have fun with. Do you remember where that were? But it was a bit off here, and Me and trying to remember how to navigate stuff. Not the best. Oh, that's one. How do you capture that one? Right. So, where was it? Which way did I go? Oh, here we go. North Clock Town. Was it straight ahead? Yeah, you can leave a like, a comment if you want to do that, or follow, check back to the channel if you don't want to miss Let's Try and Let's Plays of games and some video or gaming related stuff here and there. Oh, hello, welcome back. Bubble. Uh-huh. Hmm. Okay, come back if you... We get back to classic Link. Hmm. Is this the way I went, or was it this way I went? Very confused, a lot of places to get lost here, no map for me so far. I'm supposed to find a man outside. Yeah, probably a good way to be like stopping here. As I have no clue how to like do the next kind of part of this game. So right now I cannot go outside or anything. I have bubble power, which I don't know what to do with. Apparently you can change the time with that version that I don't really know. But yeah, no performance issues or anything. Just running and working really well here. No idea how to get to anything. You can ask Jim about the secret route to the observatory. Ah. Huh. Yeah. I'm a bit curious to see what's gonna happen when I fail, because I don't remember who Jim was. Was one of the boys, or... And when... Yeah, I'm just going around in weird circles. Don't remember who Jim is, so... I'm terrible at just trying to remember the layout of a place. This looks a bit confusing. Yeah, so where is Jim? I don't... Did I meet him? Don't remember. Maybe I did. Let's just do a little bit of wandering here so you can see that it's... Yeah, super stable. The performance here are top-notch. Jimmy North Clock Tower. Alright, so we need to get the code. Jimmy North Clock Tower. Where is the North Clock Tower? Ah. South Clock Tower, North Clock Tower is... Is this North Clock Tower? Laundry pod, no. Is this North Clock Tower? West Clock? West, is this North Clock Tower? North, okay. If you can't pop that balloon, then don't mess with it. Okay. Huh, don't I shoot with... Yeah, exactly, I should be able to shoot. There we go. That's why I got the magic, right? Alright, well, let's stop here. There we go. Let's stop here. Can we... Cube map, take on that. Mask. Press status. There's no exiting of this game, right? Well, we're gonna stop right here. Yeah, really great, really cool stuff, amazing. I hope this is gonna work out as the creator is saying, that it would be pretty easy to get more games done quickly in this way. Again, the compilation like the Ship of Arcanum is gonna be coexisting because they can do more. They can add free cameras, they can change like pretty much everything about the game, they can tweak and change. This is just more of a pure approach, you know, taking the base game and just making it be PC game, you know, not trying to like change the game about it. It adds, you know, visual stuff like audio, a little bit tweaks like that, but not super major crazy things. So it's gonna be really interesting to see, and I'm hoping we can see like a nice little explosion of good games being done in this way. Again, many games ran a bit slow, which took away from the game experience, and this is just running super smooth. And if this approach that is supposed to be able to work very well without breaking stuff, making it running smooth at like 120 frames or 60 frames or higher, and that is some cool stuff. So, you know, if you own this game, if you're interested, maybe you run this in emulators and stuff like that, it might be a very good thing to try this yourself. It seems to be some Steam Deck options, so maybe this might be able to run on Steam Deck. I know there is Linux pre-built of this, you know, like a pre-built executable available, and for Windows it's just a nice little zip file for you to unpack and then have your own file, and that will be it. Is the time gonna run out now? I'm a little bit curious to see what happens if it runs out. Is that over now? Look. The time moves really fast here. Yeah. Alright, cool. Oh, night of the final day, 12 hours remaining. But yeah, this port will only work with Majora's Mask, the American version, the USA version. And this project, as it is going to be, you cannot take this and run whatever games you want on it. It's gonna be pretty much per game tweaking, per game PC port being done at this point in time. Maybe in the future we'll get, you know, one that have a broader range, who knows, probably not. But yeah, you know, don't try to run different games and stuff like that. Don't download this and thinking that you can run your favorite game with this. That is not the point at this point in time here. Again, this PC port here is Majora's Mask that you can see running fine here, and then it's gonna be Ocarina of Time, and you know, it's gonna in the future maybe add ray tracing support and DLSS or stuff like that, and like high definition texture pack support and stuff like that. Maybe at the same time, since this, I'm guessing, I think it is open source, we might see other ports popping up of, you know, popular games that people really want to see. I'm sure there will be like a Super Mario 64 in the future, but we already have the compilation of that running really great, so it's not really on the... I would really like more like the Wave Race or you get 0 Hour, or, you know, those that are good big games, but maybe not the major games. that already had been running really great, popping up firstly and then, you know, expanding to as much as possible of the library. But yeah, you can try this yourself. I link it down below. And thanks for watching, and yeah, hope you enjoy this and have a great day. Till next time, have a great day and bye for this time.